Ryan Brown, Air Force Water Polo head coach, thanks for taking the time to join us today and answer some fans' questions.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate being here. This is a unique time, so we do it this way instead, which is fun, but we got to do it regardless, so it's nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. The first question all the fans want to know, how are you and your family? How's your staff? The players that you know of that are coming back? How is everybody doing with COVID-19 and really everything that's going on in the world right now?
Yeah, it's obviously a strange time. My staff is doing really well. We're checking with them every day. Them and their families are doing well. So they've had a lot of good family time. We've had a lot of face-to-face talks via video. I don't know if that's face-to-face or not, but and then we've kept in communication, obviously, pretty much every day. So they're all doing really well. The players are doing fantastic. Just checked with them the last time was yesterday. So everybody's doing fantastic. The ones that are back at the academy are going through the long period. I have two still left at home that were injuries, so they're still at home and they're coming back later. And then the ones that came back early working BCT are doing fantastic with the new kids at the academy. My personal family, my wife and two sons are doing fantastic. We've had some nice time together. We have gotten away a couple of times for vacation, so that was real nice to get away. We did some camping. Other than that, it's been a lot of bike rides, a lot of walks, a lot of to-do lists. My wife has loved having me home. She's gotten a lot of her to-do lists done, which has been great. So knocking projects off left and right. But I can't wait to get actually back in the office, actually coaching some water polo again, be by the poolside. I miss the team, I miss the sport. So, but all is well in the Team Brown.
Good deal. It has been interesting, to say the least, with everything that's going on, especially with this pandemic. The first question from the fans, really, after how you're doing, is what is a season going to look like this year? And I know everything's so fluid. It's tough. I ask every coach these questions, and it changes daily, really. But what can you tell us right now that you know, and what concerns you about the pandemic and moving forward into a 2020 season?
Yeah, I think that, kind of like you say, it's very fluid. And of course, us being a water sport, the water is fluid, so we're always having to be fluid. But it changes daily. I think we should get some answers for probably most sports and fall in general, hopefully mid-July here. So I think a lot of answers will be given out mid-July. I doubt we can really wait till August. But what my feeling is it's all changing. We might get the season started and have to end. We might move the season. We might play a normal season. That's probably not going to happen. Or the length of the season gets reduced. All things in the water polo world are being talked about, all kinds of options. Some conferences have come already out and set their limitations. Right now, we don't have many limitations as far as we're concerned. But somebody above me is going to make that decision and tell me what I can and can't do. I hope we have a season. If it has to be moved to spring, then so be it. I'd rather play a short season or a short full season, or move it to spring and play a different time than normal. I think it's best for the student athletes to have a season. Obviously, it was unfortunate what happened to those in spring and winter. And I feel bad for all those athletes. I hope that the fall athletes don't have to do the same, and the spring and winter athletes don't have to have a repeat of what they got last season. So, hopefully you can have one. As far as what concerns me, I think that, it's definitely a situation where, everybody's worried about it. We're taking these strict protocols to return to play. All it takes is one person that interacts that maybe isn't following those same protocols, take down an entire team for 2 weeks. I think that's the biggest concern, is we could do everything right, and then somebody somewhere that isn't doing it right, could take down an entire team. And that's a bummer for the athletes, right? It's a bummer for the athletes. So I think that's the most important thing, is we've got to try to do what's best for the athletes and the athlete experience, as well as obviously staff members, family members. That the ring just goes further and further out to have to protect everything. So I think the precautions are good. We'll see what we get.
I'm just hopeful that the medical communities are figuring this thing out, daily, just getting more and more information. So hopefully, but let's learn a little bit more about Ryan Brown. One of the questions is, how did you get into water polo?
Well, it's a funny story. I mean, my family, nobody knew what water polo was in my family. But my grandmother lived next door, or 2 doors down from my best friend, and he started playing when he was 8. And then we were messing around one summer in his backyard in the pool, and we kind of took one of those lawn chairs and stood it up sideways, kind of like a backboard as a goal. And we were throwing a ball around in the pool, and then I was playing goalie, and he was shooting. He's like, "Hey, you should come to water polo practice." I'm like, "What's water polo?" So then that was when I was 10, and I turned 11 that summer, so like 10 and a half or so. And next thing you know, I was playing water polo every night of the week. And then it's kind of grown since then. So the first time I ever heard of it was, in somebody's backyard, and we were throwing around a ball, shooting in a lawn chair. And, now here I am, I don't know how many years later, I guess that's 40, so that's 31 years later, still doing the same thing. I'm one of those lucky people that get to do what I love. So that's how I started.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And it is interesting because not a lot of people, I mean, unless you grow up in California, know really a lot about water polo. So that's great. Have you learned anything about water polo in your time at the academy? The next question is, you've been at the academy for a little while. What have you learned? And we'll get into who you were under in a little bit, but what have you learned as far as maybe even a coaching style or anything?
Well, I think that times have changed in general, and that's across all sports. So when I first started coaching, I was 18 when I started helping out. So I was a freshman in college, and so I started helping out with clubs and back at my local high school and all that stuff. So I got into coaching pretty early. And things that my coach did when I was younger, I started, you can't do a lot of that stuff now. So definitely as I've grown and run my programs, and head coaches other places, and then assistant coaches under multiple people. I've taken bits and pieces from everybody. But one thing at the academy I've learned from other coaches about the academy and about coaching at the academy specifically. And it is different. It's a different place. It's an awesome place. But our ultimate mission isn't water polo. It's making these young men into great leaders and second lieutenants out into the Air Force. So the fires are a little bit different. Obviously, I want to win. The kids want to win. We're going to do what it takes to win. We're going to train to be a champion. And always knowing there's always that other bigger picture out there. So I think I've learned more about
that leads us to the next question, really. What did you learn from being under Coach Jeff Heidmus? So we can use so many things to talk about Jeff Heidmus, 2-time head coach, prolific head coach. But what did you learn from Coach Heidmus? And I'm sure, he was in the military, so he understood it, maybe taught you a lot about it.
That was one of the best things about coming here. As far as coaching water polo, I think I've been ready for that. I am ready for that. But coaching at the academy it's completely different. And I didn't come from a military background. I did get recruited to go to the Air Force, which I missed actually. I brought in my first banquet, I brought the letter that he wrote me about being recruited to the Air Force Academy. And it's also a story that I tell when I go sit in young men's homes. I did tell them that I got recruited, and I didn't do enough research about the place. And obviously, the more I learn, and this isn't just a recruiting case, but the more I learn, the more, it's a fantastic, wonderful opportunity for these young men. It's an awesome career. I don't regret any of my decisions, but I definitely wish I would have looked at it more. But yeah, learning the military side of things, what the academy is actually about, and you know what was really funny is, I mean, I can't think of a better person to learn about the Air Force Academy than Coach Henderson, because, you know, he had done it. He'd been there. He was in charge of things, many things. He was part of many committees. He was the water polo coach. He was everything, and everybody came to his office to ask questions. I mean, everything. And so I would always hear the question and hear the answer. And of course, I had my own questions, so I was always in his office, and we were talking about stuff that wasn't even water polo related. So I've got a large grasp very quickly about what this place is about, and you know, it was an awesome person to learn under, be under, um, how he is as a person on the personal side, not only just at the work center, and his work ethic and all that stuff. It was fantastic. I couldn't ask for a better mentor here at the academy than Coach Adams was, and he's still around. I talk to him all the time. We talk water polo. We talk other things. We talk life. So he's been fantastic, and like I say, he's still around. So I get to see him all the time. So it was great.
That's awesome. This isn't a question from a fan, but I think I want to ask it. Is you mentioned recruiting, and you know the Air Force Academy is in Colorado, so you're recruiting for a sport that's mostly a lot of times played outdoors, right? In California, how do you recruit and how do you let people know, hey, there is a team that plays in the middle of the country, and how do you get them to want to come to the Air Force Academy?
Recruiting in general is very difficult. It's also one of the most important things for college athletics. There's several kids. There's probably maybe half the group already knows about us and reaches out to us or knows that there's a team. And there's about half that we reach out to and that are unaware that we have a water polo team at Air Force. So recruiting is very difficult, but every place, every school has its own challenges as far as recruiting. Ours is just a little bit different than others. But I think one of the most important things is getting to these kids' homes, sitting in their living rooms and talking to them and their parents. And now we've had to do some virtually, but it's a lot different. I'd rather be in the home, but I think that is vitally important to people understanding what the academy is, what life as an Air Force officer is, and then what it takes to get into the academy. So you kind of hit all three pillars, before, then, and after. And then getting them to come to the academy. Most of our kids come from California because it's where it's played. So a lot of these kids, not saying they don't know what snow is because there's snow in California, but most of them are more beach kids. So we bring them out during the winter and we show them what this place is like during the cold, and how wonderful, fantastic this place is. I'm a California kid too, but I love it here. And they see the outdoor stuff, they see the beauty of it, they see the academy and the classrooms and the way things work. They really fall in love with it. So I think those are two main things for recruiting: is the in-home visit and getting to see the academy.
And of course, there's a lot of times when you're playing water polo games where there's snow outside, but it is by no means cold in the natatorium.
No, it is very warm, very warm.
Here's another question from fans. How can alumni help your program? Maybe that's a question from an alum, but how can they help? How do they help? So I'm sure some of them are even helping right now.
Yeah, alumni are really the heartbeat, if you will, of our program. Because I look at it in multiple ways, right? They were part of the program when they were here. They're part of the program when they leave. The program doesn't really exist without the help and support of the alumni. It's our alumni base is fantastic. They give back. They stay connected. I would love to try to do more. I know Coach Henderson is starting to work on that side of things, trying to do more. They reach out. I reach out to them. They reach back. There's really good communication on our alumni. They're all fantastic, wonderful people. They love getting back to the program. They love to see where the program has gotten to right now, and obviously want to see it moving forward. Financially, they give back, which is fantastic and great. And usually our main focus for our alumni donations to go on a foreign tour every 4 years, which we're actually supposed to go this last summer. I had to pull the plug on that because it just wasn't safe for us to travel and put these kids in harm's way, then be overseas, and there's a whole host of issues with that. So we canceled it. Hopefully we move it to next summer. Hopefully things are better and we can do it next summer. So that's where our main focus is for our alumni, as far as the financial donations. But, really want to step up our California presence. We were in California a couple times. We have a couple alumni meetings. That we're trying to put that in the works. To have just like one gathering for one of the trips that we're out there. Not every trip. And then, we do our alumni game here. This was supposed to be our 50th season this coming fall. So a bunch of alumni were planning to come back for that. Now, who knows? If we don't have season, maybe it gets moved to spring. If we don't have a spring season, maybe it gets moved to next fall and still becomes our 50th season regardless. But the local alumni do a great job, coming to games, supporting the team, coming to Juice a couple talks a year, which is great, and then really helping host the alumni when they do come. So, like I said, the alumni is really the heartbeat of the program because they were part of it. Now they're still part of it, keeping it going. And as kids come through, I've always told people, like, leave the program in a better place than you left it. So you show up, the program's already in a good spot. Your job is make it continue to be successful when you leave, and then keep giving back to help people going that direction. So hopefully that sticks and keeps moving forward, even past my time, which hopefully will be a long time from now, but hopefully that will continue all the way through my time and continue on with the program.
It's such an interesting sport because it's a smaller group than a lot of the other sports are, so kind of makes that brotherhood, as we like to say, happen. Here's a question. What lessons does someone learn from playing water polo? Now, I know you get lessons from sport, but this question is asking, what lessons do you learn from playing water polo?
Well, I always tell kids, people ask me why I coach and that sort of stuff. And, my thing is, one, I love the sport. Two, I think there's so many life lessons probably in every sport because I've played multiple sports growing up. But, every life lesson, I think, can be related back to some point in water polo, whether it's in a game training or teamwork. There's so many life lessons. And really, especially when I coach age group kids and even these kids, I want to give those life lessons to these young men and women when I coach them about what life is going to be like and things that can relate back to water polo as they move forward in their lives. Specifically, maybe more on a fun side, what water polo will teach you is not to drown. Which would be a good life skill in general. But yeah, I think there's so many out there. The teamwork, the camaraderie, the hard work, the not giving up, the perseverance. I mean, there's everything. Communication, which I think is a huge part in life. Whether you end up having a family or relationships, and communication is vitally important. Workplace, everywhere, right? In a team sport, you got to have that communication skill, and it's no different for water polo. So I think there's so many. We could spend all day tying them into different things. But I'd say the most important one is not drowning.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. Not drowning. You got to tread water a long time playing this sport, let me tell you. Before I get to another fan's question, I do want to ask you, maybe you can let the fans know what, as far as X's and O's or coaching mentality goes, what kind of teams do you like to put in the pool?
I would love to get to the point where our IQ or our water polo IQ and our team water polo IQ is better than anybody in the nation. There's never enough time in any day to get enough done. We're there, but I would love to have the smartest water polo IQ team out there. Because I think that when you get to an elite level, the mental side of the game is probably more important than the physical side of the game. Yes, you need to be able to swim, pass, shoot, you need to be strong, you need to be fit, all those things. But if you are a little bit weaker in those areas, as long as you are way smarter and your team is really smarter, you can overcome a lot of those maybe weaker areas because of your mental understanding of the game and the situation and how it's always changing, but your mind keeps up that. So, yes, I want fast, big, strong kids that can shoot the ball well. Yes, I need that. We have to have that. But I would hope to turn them also into students of the game, if you will, and have that water polo IQ be off the charts. I think that's a vital piece. Like I said, at an elite level, the smarter you are at the game, the easier the game becomes.
Yeah, I think that works in just about every sport, but that's very smart. That's good. Not the answer I was expecting. That's very good. A couple more questions here. What does this year's recruiting class look like, and how does it stack up against previous classes?
I challenge myself and my coaching staff to we want to recruit kids that can come and replace kids on our team right now, right? So if I can bring a kid in that can start on my team right now, we're doing a good job recruiting. On the same token, I'm going to coach my butt off and give every kid 100% of attention that's currently on the team to never be replaced by anybody coming in, right? So it's a double-edged sword. I'm never going to win that battle, which is good, right? I hope to never win that battle. This year's class in particular is very strong. We brought in kids from kind of all different positions, which is good going through in the future. We don't always do that, but we brought in some defenders. We brought in some centers. Brought in the people playing on the right side of the pool, the left side of the pool. So we brought in a very balanced class, and probably overall stronger than the class before that. That class was extremely strong. Maybe not as well balanced, but extremely strong. So I think we're doing a great job. I think we're going to string together. This is probably going to be our third really good, strong class coming in. And line looks really strong, possibly even better than the class coming in. So I think we're going the right direction. We're going after the right kids. We're getting a lot of the right kids. Sure, we're missing, we're not batting 1,000, but not sure anybody bats 1,000 anyway. So, I think we're doing a good job. I think the class is strong. I think they're going to complement what we already have in the pool over the next couple of years really well. And then, like I said, hopefully the class behind them is going to complement them.
That's awesome. That kind of leads us into the last question, which is when you have a season, let's pretend it's going to happen right away in the fall, but what are you most excited about for the next season?
I'm excited. Well, I'm excited just to be back in the pool and see my team. But let's say we have a season. I'm really looking forward to that the way the team has gone. 2 years ago, changed a couple things. Last year, changed a couple more. Going to change a couple more, kind of as we go through this. And I would say the team overall is progressing nicely, and we're becoming, like I said, more students of the game, better understanding of how the whole game is played, not just this one particular thing, but the game as a whole. The water polo community is seeing a change. Sure, we still make mistakes, still blow things, make mistakes. It still happens. But these are college athletics, so that's going to happen. But I think we're going the right direction as far as the overall output of what I would like to see our team be in the future, whether that's tomorrow, whether that's a year from now, 3 years from now. But I think the program is on the right track, moving the right direction. Now we just need to bring more of those kids in, roll, as we go through, and get more than just one of them, get 2 or 3 of them, get, multiple players that kind of fill all the same rules, so you get a little bit more competitive in practice, and you get better. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this year. Hopefully it happens. These kids have worked hard. The senior class is super strong and committed, and has done a great job leading the way here the last couple of years as we kind of transitioned into a couple of different things. Last year's class did a great job. This year's class is going to do a great job. So Really looking forward to the way we played the last couple of years to really put together this fall if we can. Hopefully we get to, and those seniors get sent off with a great season. As every senior and every sport deserves.
That exhausts the questions from the fans, but I did want to give you one last opportunity. If there's anything else you wanted to talk about, say to anyone who might be watching this.
If you're somebody that's interested in water polo in the Air Force Academy, it's a great opportunity. And you should really, take a full look at it. Get us in your home, get out to the academy, like I said before. Vitally important to do both of those things. If you're a fan, if you're an alumni or you're a fan, thank you for your support in every aspect. As far as the current team, wait to see guys and get back out there and be training again. To just the water polo community out there, stay strong in all this change. And, we hope to see everybody out there playing soon and be strong and be safe.
Same back at you, Coach. Thanks for taking the time today. And, hopefully very soon here, we'll be back on the deck of that pool and watching your team in action.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Ryan.